Hey, I want to talk about comparison and how that is the thief of joy, especially when it comes to careers and getting a new job, pivoting a job, getting a raise, whatever the case might be. If you've ever caught yourself scrolling through LinkedIn or Instagram thinking, God, I see what you've done for others. When will it be my turn? Um, Sometimes people think this, but sometimes it kills me when I see people write this under people's posts because deep down it's not jealousy, but it is like disappointment. It's disappointment dressed up as comparison, right? It's faith losing its footing because the timeline of our life doesn't look like somebody else's. And the timeline we self-imposed is not coming to fruition, right? And I want to talk about this because today during church, during the service, that was the main theme, comparison, right? And my pastor said something today that really resonated and the whole sermon resonated, but he said, faith fades when comparison takes the lead. And I want us to let that sink in because maybe it's not that God isn't moving in our lives. Maybe isn't that we're behind in a timeline. Maybe it's just I stopped paying attention to where he's moving in me, right? It's like there was a season in my life where I was watching everybody else win, especially in the workspace, right? Especially in my love life. People were getting into committed relationships. They were getting engaged, married at work. People were getting promoted, raises, praise all the time, right? People were living in their purpose. Meanwhile, I was stuck in a fog called not yet, called why have you given me the hardest burden, Jesus? Called Jesus, I'm calling you not this year, right? Comparison is a thief with soft hands. My moisturized hands. Comparison is a thief with soft hands. And it doesn't snatch your blessings, but it distracts you from seeing them. And I was living this. I was like looking all around me, not realizing, and in so many ways, I was living in truth that I always wanted. But because I had achieved those things and I wasn't moving towards the next thing, the things that I had achieved, I was living in an apartment that I was paying for by myself in New York City. I was born and raised in New York City, right? I had pivoted from working for the government to working in tech. I'd paid off my student loan, all this stuff that super grateful for and things I'd prayed for. Like I just said, comparison is a thief with soft hands. It doesn't snatch your blessings, but it distracts you from seeing them. And I was very distracted, right? Because it quietly shifts your eyes from God's faithfulness and everything I just listed that had been done to someone else's progress. And I'm sitting here like, God, I see what you've done for others. Okay. So you stop seeing the miracle that's happening in you because you're too busy. I was too busy watching the timeline of someone else's life. And that blindness, it will have you questioning your own purpose. My pastor read a passage from Haggai 2:4. It was, be strong, for I am with you, says the Lord. Be strong and do the work, for I am with you. And that's actually the passage. And that is a bit of a reset for me and hopefully for you. Because what if your progress isn't slow? What if it's sacred? What if God is building something in you so deep? He got to nurture you. When you plant a seed, the seed, you see the roots going down in the soil, down in the water before anything ever sprouts up. So in this waiting period, be strong, do the work, for I am with you, says the Lord. And I'm not a pastor, so I'm not going to make this a sermon, but I want us to think about being strong, doing the work, for you're not alone, right? We live in a world that worships hustle. Do more, apply more, achieve more. But sometimes it's not about working harder, but it's about working deeper, having faith. Is I don't need your more, I need your focus. See, when I coach people who are pivoting careers, I see this pattern all the time where uh, people are sending out hundreds of applications and they're getting no traction and they're wondering why. And I think it's not because they're not talented, but because they've skipped the deeper work. They haven't done the be strong, do the work part. They've skipped that totally, right? So the work of understanding your specific knowledge, my client's specific knowledge, The work of discovering the value only you bring to the table, the story only you can tell because it's yours and yours alone. Because God has given you that in your journey, right? Because when you know that, you stop moving from desperation and start moving with divine alignment. Can I share something? It's coming up. When you understand your specific knowledge, your skills, your receipts, you stop chasing opportunities. You start attracting the ones that fit your purpose. Remember that rooting we were talking about earlier? Because when you start blooming, when you start showing the fruits of your labor proudly, your gifts proudly, things attract to you. It's like a garden. The rose doesn't tell the bee to come to it, the bee comes to it. Yeah. And not to belabor this, but when the bee comes to it and gets the pollen, then that bee takes that pollen and spreads it elsewhere. So you allowing yourself to deeply be rooted and blossom, you're now helping the whole ecosystem. You allowing yourself to know your specific knowledge deeply, your value, your skill set so deeply allow you to put that out there in the form of your resume, your LinkedIn, your whatever, in a way that attracts the people and therefore it creates open doors for yourself and other people, right? So you don't need to convince anyone that you're qualified. You already know you are because you've done the inner work to align your value with your next step, right? Faith isn't like sitting still waiting for something to fall in your lap. Faith is active alignment. It's doing the work that prepares you for what you've been praying for. So hear me, the fullness of your future is too great for you to not be prepared for it. The fullness of your future is too great for you not to be prepared. Every rejection, every delay, every awkward interview, it's not punishment, it's preparation for the future that is ordained for you. You've envisioned it, therefore it is yours. But you have to be strong and do the work, right? Because when you finally walk into that room, that role, when the opportunity finally says yes, you need to know you are, right? That's how you silence syndrome. That's how you're able to negotiate for yourself and speak up for yourself. Call out things that are not working in your favor. And it's not by faking confidence, faking it till you make it. No, but it's by building evidence. And building evidence is in that season of being strong and doing the work. Because in that season, what you do is like you write your wins in your resume loudly to yourself and then in your resume. You've practiced your story in interviews. You've refined your voice through every no. So you know so deeply what you bring to the table. Like there's no question because you have been strong and done the work. So when the yes comes, you're not nervous, but you are ready. So if this message hit your spirit, it's because you're in that middle ground, in that in between, that stretch season, right? And you're waiting, you're working, you're wondering if it's worth it. And I want to help you. I want to help you not just wait, prepare. Let's go back to be strong, do the work. And that is why I created the pivot book is to help you discover your specific knowledge. It gives you step by step of what you need to do to get to the point B that you're looking for. How do you stay strong in this? How do you do the work? How do you do the work is finding your specific knowledge. It's finding jobs that are aligned. It's networking. It's preparing for interviews. And in the book, I walk step by step how to do this. I give you templates and all of that, tools to use, right? Because once you discover your specific knowledge and you define your value, when you're doing all these other steps, it is easier to walk boldly in that and to walk boldly into your next chapter, right? And if you're ready to go deeper, you need that one-on-one accountability. That is where the one-on-one sessions with me come in. We are able to align your story, your skills, and your strategy because we want to make sure that with the faith in being strong and in doing the work, you know that you're not alone. And you know that if you pair faith and clarity together, you're able to be stronger and able to do that work better. Because faith without a roadmap is frustration. It's frustration in disguise. It becomes a struggle. And that's where that strongness starts to waver. And that's where, let me see, my pastor said something. He said, the hardest part, let me find it. He said, the hardest part is continuing when progress seems slow. And I think I already said this earlier, but faith fades whenever comparison takes the lead, right? when you start slowing down your work because you're comparing yourself to others. But once we understand what our specific knowledge is and our unique value, why are we looking elsewhere? But sometimes it's hard to uncover that. And that's why I have my one-on-one sessions. You don't need to compare anymore. You just need to prepare, right? So wherever you are, slow progress, hidden seasons, silent prayers, in the waiting, in the working, in the wondering, remember this. You're not behind. You're being built. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, right? Because you already have it in you. And if you need some help, reach out and let's make sure you're getting where you need to be. So if you watch this, thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. Please leave a comment just so we can continue this conversation. If there are any questions, comments that are coming up for you, again, like either leave it in the comments or my email is here as well. Email me, DM me on threads, whatever the case might be. All righty.